Good evening, friends. Welcome to Education So Simple. I am Vipul Kumar, business consultant, working with the team of the Chartered Accountant, Company Secretary and lawyers. Today, I am covering double taxation relief DTAA provisions. This video is very useful for the professional who is already studying international taxation at academic level and wants to recapitulate the whole concept in very short period, and a student at the final level who is recapitulating whole concept in 50 minutes or 20 minutes. My dear friends, today I am covering the concept of the double taxation relief, types of double taxation relief, and double taxation relief provided under the income tax provisions, the concept of the permanent establishment, foreign tax credit rules, and taxation of the BPO units in India. Dear friends, first of all, we discuss concept of the double taxation relief. Relief. What is the double taxation? And then we discuss relief. In case of the double taxation, same income twice in the hands of SSC, taxable in the hands of SSC twice. Means double your income is taxable twice of the same income. That is a double taxation. This double taxation arises due to income being taxed in country of the residence as well as the country of the source. There are two rules of the taxation: source rules and residence rule. As per the source rules, income taxed in the country in which it originates, irrespective of whether the income accrued to a resident or non-resident. The source of the income, where source of the income, that income is taxable in as per source rule. And second, income is taxed in the country in which taxpayer is a resident. So this is taxable as per residence rule. But same income taxable as per the source rule and same income taxable as per the residence rule. Then in that case, to avoid such double taxation tax avoidance agreement DTAA come into play. And relief provided through the provision of the Income Tax Act or under the provision of the DTA. Dear friend, we know there are two types of double taxation relief. There is a bilateral relief and unilateral relief. Bilateral relief is provided in the method of the exemption method or tax credit method. Under the exemption method, one particular income is taxed in only one of the two countries and it is exempted in another country. That is the exemption method. Second, tax credit method. In tax credit method, income is taxable in the both countries in accordance with their respective tax law. Read with the double taxation avoidance agreement. The country of the residence of the taxpayer, however, allow credit of the tax charge thereon in the country of source. Means residence of the taxpayer allow credit of the tax which is charged as the country of the source as per the source rule. So this is the called tax credit method. We know there is tax credit rules. Under tax credit rules, there is a provision of how tax credit has been taken. And second, unilateral relief. Under unilateral relief, there is no provision of the DTA. Then we claim as per unilateral relief provided under the provision of the Income Tax Act. Let's check the provision of the Income Tax Act. What are the relief provided under Income Tax Act? Dear friend, there is a flow chart given where whole provision of the Income Tax Act which provide relief. First of all, bilateral relief, section 90 or section 90A, where agreement with the foreign country or a specified territory of the regarding DTA, and where there is no agreement with country, then there is unilateral relief provided under section 91. The objective of section 90 or 90A, the central government may enter into agreement with the government of any country outside India or a specified territory or a specified association outside India for the granting of the relief in respect of doubly taxed income, for the avoidance of double taxation of income, for exchange of information for the prevention of evasion or avoidance of income tax, for recovery of income tax. Friend, there is a granting of the relief in respect of doubly taxed income. It means to promote, it is purpose of this provision to promote the mutual economic relation, trade and investment. In case of the agreement where the granting of the relief or avoidance of double taxation of income, DTA applies. In that case, taxability of the income determined on the basis of the DTA or Income Tax Act. This is most beneficial to the assessee. This is important. What is the taxability? How taxability is determined? So taxability is determined on the basis of the provision of the section 90, and section 90 says the provision of the DTA or Income Tax Act, which is more beneficial to the assessee, is applied on for determination of the taxability. Friend, please note, in case of the foreign country, is also taxpayer, foreign company is also taxpayer, and in case of foreign company, there is a higher rate of the tax, 40% plus surcharge or education tax. Then in that case, the higher rate of the tax. So whether this higher rate of a tax on foreign country is beneficial, prejudicial to the foreign country, foreign company. So there is a provision in the Income Tax Act where it is mentioned that charge of the tax in respect of the foreign company at a rate higher than the rate at which a domestic company is chargeable shall not be regarded as less favorable charge or levy of tax in respect of such foreign company. So charging at higher rate of the tax in foreign company is not less favorable. That means it will allowed. We are not taken ground or provision of shelter of the provision of section 90, that is the higher rate of the tax at foreign country is a not beneficial to SSC, or it should be not determined for the provision of the DTA. No, the higher rate of tax, it is allowed and you have to pay tax at a higher rate. It is provided, specific provided in the provision of section 90. Dear friends, one of the point is important that to claim double taxation relief, there is a tax residency certificate is required. What is the tax residency certificate? So tax residency certificate, purpose of the tax residency certificate that third party resident cannot claim unintended TT benefit. That's why the concept of the tax residency certificate is introduced in section 1991A for claiming DTA relief. Friend, tax residency certificate constitute proof of the tax residency without any further condition. However, other prescribed document and information for claiming tax treaty is required. But if this information is already provided in the tax residency certificate, then there is no further document required from the person who claiming DTA. For claiming DTA, the other particular provided in form number 10F, where the status, nationality, country of the incorporation or registration, assessee tax identification number, unique number, period of the residential status, and address of the assessee should be provided in form number 10F. If you have other information, not required if it already contained in TRC certificate. Assessee shall keep and maintain such document to substantiate the information provided and for future, to avoid future tax litigation. So this is the provision of section 1990A. Here we understand terminology used in the DTA provision. The term used neither used in DTA provision nor used in the Income Tax Act, and any notification comes and it gives the definition of that term. Then in that case, the meaning of that term is taken as per the notification, and it is effective from the date of the DTA. In case the term is defined in the DTA provision, then the term meaning of that term is taken as per the DTA provision. In case term is defined in the Income Tax Act and not defined in the DTA Act, then we take the terms as per the Income Tax Act. And one more thing, the provision of the GAR, General Anti-Avoidance Regulation, Chapter 10A, apply even if not beneficial to the assessee. So this is a overriding effect, which say that DTA provision or income tax provision which is more beneficial to the assessee is applied. But in case of the GAR provision, override this the provision of section 1990A. Section 1990A not override the provision of the GAR. Now we see unilateral relief. Unilateral relief is provided where there is no DTA agreement with any country. This is applied on the assessee who is a resident in India during the previous year. The condition for claiming unilateral relief: first condition, income accrue or arise to him outside India. Second condition, income is not deemed to accrue or arise in India during the previous year. Third condition, income in question has been subjected to income tax in the foreign country in hands of the assessee. Fourth, the assessee has paid tax on income in foreign country. And fifth, there is no agreement for relief from double taxation between India and the other country where the income has accrued or arisen. So how tax relief has to be computed? Friends, there is a relief for calculation for where there is no agreement between with foreign country. In that case, computation of the net total income of gross tax, Indian and foreign income, from total tax payable on total tax Indian and foreign income, we reduce lower of average tax in India on foreign income or tax in foreign country, that is the lower, this is final tax payable. Means final tax payable is the average tax in India on foreign income or tax in foreign country, whichever is less, is final tax payable. It means you calculate doubly tax income. The income is tax is twice is in proportion to Indian rate of the tax or rate of tax in the said country, whichever is lower. Doubly tax income is taxable at Indian rate of the tax or rate of tax in the said country, which is lower, or in case of the Indian rate of the tax, if both are equal, then Indian rate of the tax. Most of the person confuse the terminology used in the DTA section 91. What is the Indian rate of the tax? In Indian rate of the tax, amount of the income tax divided by the total income, net income, total income after deduction of any relief under the Act, but before double taxation relief due to the SST. A rate of the tax of the said country is calculated income tax or super tax actually paid accordance with correspondence law of said country after deduction of all relief due but before deduction of the double taxation relief in said country divided by whole amount of the income assessed in the said country. Here please note, income tax for this purpose means excess of profit tax or business profit charged on profit by government or for government of any part of that country or local authority in that country is also in that, it is covered under income tax. So this is the section 91, where the provision of the relief provided as per unilateral relief provided under section 91 of the Income Tax Act. Dear friends, now we understand concept of the permanent establishment. What is the permanent establishment? Is any concept, any importance to determine tax on the basis of permanent establishment? First of all, we see what is the tax implication to become for permanent establishment, and then we study understand concept of permanent establishment. In case of the non-resident, if there is a business connection, the terminology business connection understand in the in chapter taxation of the non-resident, where we in detail understand the concept of the business connection. Then if there is a business connection, then that is governed by the section 9 income deemed to accrue or arise in India, or this is taxable as per the Income Tax Provision Act. If there is business connection, or if there is on the basis of the permanent establishment, then governed by the DTA provision or taxability under DTA. So for determining taxability as per the DTA, there should be permanent establishment. To constitute a permanent establishment, then apply the provision of the DTAA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. In left side, you see the definition of the permanent establishment. Generally, Model Tax Convention. We see the section in chapter Model Tax Convention, where generally Article 5 mention the definition of the permanent establishment. Means permanent establishment means fixed place of the business to business of an enterprise wholly or partially carried on. Every DTA has a specific clause which dealt with explanation of the permanent establishment for the purpose of such double taxation avoidance agreement. Business income of the non-resident will be taxed in India unless such non-resident has a permanent establishment in India. Means income of the non-resident not taxable in India if there is no permanent establishment in India. If there is permanent establishment in India, then the business income of the non-resident is taxable in India. There is a business for the taxability of the business income. There should be permanent establishment. So, as per definition, permanent, the word permanent establishment includes a branch, a office, factory, workshop, sales outlet, warehouse, mine, oil, gas well, a quarry, or any other place of the extraction of natural resources, but not exploration, and a place of the management. So this all thing is covered under the concept of the permanent establishment. Dear friends, in next topic we will cover the rules of the foreign tax credit rules, rule 128 of the Income Tax Act, income tax rules, and the taxation of the BPO units in India. This is very important because after Corona, the BPO business is expected to grow in India, because there is shifting of the outsourcing business from China to India. Therefore, we are ready to know the taxability of the BPO units in India, how BPO units is taxable in India. Being chartered accountant, company secretary, lawyers, there is the responsibility. The process, taxability policy process should be smooth in case of the BPO units. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any query, doubts, needs clarification, please drop your mail at my email ID rspkeducationalservices@gmail.com, or drop your comments in YouTube video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please watch my next video series, which is 3 video series. First video series is the overview video series, that is a level 1 video such like this video, and second video is the in detail analysis of the provision of the international taxation, and third video types of video is the detailed case analysis, recent amendment, and changes in international taxation worldwide. So this everything is covered in level 3 video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much.